Hey, yo, I want to talk about babies for some reason. I recently made a video on potential draft archetypes inspired by the real world. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen it. But during that video I talked about the relative age effect, which supposes your personality can be determined by the time of year that you're born. This also isn't important for today's topic. However, as per usual for my channel, I made a Wednesday poll relating to that Monday's video. In a draft format, what season has the best babies? 24% of you said spring babies, 25% said summer babies, 26% said autumn babies, and 25% said winter babies. A good spread, but don't worry if that was nonsense to you, as it also doesn't matter for today, because it's the comments to that poll that inspired this video. Not all of them, admittedly, though most of them are fun. Big fan of this one too, very good. You guys tend to have a great sense of humour, so I do love reading the replies. One person understandably said of the poll, "This confuses me, not sure what the question is," to which someone else replied, "I see where the confusion comes from. Let me help. He's talking about the famous TCG Magic the Gathering. Hope this helps." Very good. 10 out of 10, no notes. I also saw a few, "Is this an April Fool's joke" type comments with some replies saying, "No, he's always like that," which I also very much enjoyed reading. But I think they've been deleted for some reason because I can't find them now, which is a real shame. Anyway, I read "Instructions unclear, I now have a summer baby and need to make 3 more to compare," and I laughed. Then I read "Instructions unclear, makes baby-themed commander deck," and I thought, like Child of Alara would be the commander, of course, and it's a 5-color too, so I could probably run basically any card I wanted in it. And then I read "What about the Scry babies?" and I knew I was in trouble. See, I'm very lazy, but I do love building dumb decks around a theme. So because I'm lazy, I always start from a position of 37 basic lands, as that's roughly what you need for your average commander deck. Will every deck need exactly that many? No. Will having that many guarantee a good deck? Also no. Do they need to be basics? No. I pick that number not because it's optimal, but because I'm lazy and it's an easy starting point to build a dumb deck around. So if we're looking at making a baby deck, with Child of Alara as our commander, we're going to need at least 62 baby cards to be successful, which is the 100 card commander deck size, minus both our 37 lands and our 1 commander. Mathematics. So let's answer this question. What about the Scry babies? Because if there's more than 62 of them, then I feel like you and I should probably spend today's video building a deck around it. Zoom in. My Scryfall search terms are game:paper, meaning paper cards only because digital cards are useless to us, minus --external-IP, meaning no external IP cards because I'm only looking for magic babies, legal:commander, meaning legal in commander because the cards we're searching for should be playable in the format, minus type:land, meaning no land cards as our land base is already sorted and basics are fine, and --baby, meaning pictures of babies because I want a picture of a baby on every card we cast. Now remember, if this search brings back more than 62 results, then today we're making a deck. 67! Congratulations, it's a commander. Fun fact, I started writing this script immediately after reading those comments and I'm now looking stuff up as I type, meaning at this point in time for me, scripting red legit didn't know, whatever, what we are in for in terms of cards for the rest of the deck. And you're basically going to see the steps that are the thought process of building this deck in the same order as I did them, /do them, whatever. So let's get started. We should probably begin with Child of Alara as our commander, always a sensible place to start. It's a 5-color 6/6 legendary avatar creature with trample, and when Child of Alara dies, destroy all non-land permanents. They can't be regenerated. Will any of that actually matter in the deck? Will it have any kind of mechanical cohesion? As I say, at current time of writing this script, I don't know. But if you're listening to this, then I assume it means the deck wasn't a complete failure and it was worth me recording these lines and editing it all together. Isn't temporal perspective weird? Also, something to note, we only needed 62 cards for our 100 card deck. Of the 67 search results we got, Child of Alara itself was one. So that means we actually only found 66 other unique baby cards, which is 4 more than we need for the deck. So which 4 are we going to cut? I also don't currently know. I guess we'll all figure that out together at the end. Apart from recording red and editing red, who previously were scripting red. as they presumably finished the script and already know how it ends. I think it's best not to dwell on this too much or I might go insane. I added the term O-tag ramp to the search term so that of the cards that we found we can see if any of them are ramp, which is useful for deck building. And there's apparently a Land of War Elves with a baby in the art, so that's a great start as it's a classic mana dork for any deck. But as for the other 4 cards, Gilded Goose feeding a fish to its goslings is okay mechanically I guess, and Marwyn who's holding a baby to her chest isn't a terrible card, but are we really going to count Kessig Naturalist and Arlinn, who are both holding baby animals, as ramp? For the purposes of this deck and lack of other choices, I guess we are. Next up, I removed the ramp tag and added O-tag draw to our previous search instead, because card draw is always important. And from the results, the Morang River Regent came up, which doesn't look like a baby, but it is one of those Tarkir Dragonstorm double-faced cards with a baby version on the reverse side, so I guess that counts. It has the 4-mana Coil and Catch instant on it to draw 3 and discard a card, so sure thing, that certainly sounds like a card draw card. But for the rest of the card draw cards, we got Flourishing Fox, stood atop a den of little fox kits, and no other cards. And if you look at the mechanics, it only has card draw in the sense that it has cycling. I don't think this deck is going to be very good, everyone. But too late to stop now, so I guess we try board wipes next, because why not? And we have 3 results. Widespread Brutality has a baby confirmed in the art, Evacuation has a baby confirmed in the art, and Simoon has some baby Simoons in the art, so sure, I guess these all count. Amass 2, then the army you amassed deals damage equal to its power to each non-army creature. Not very good, but it might get better if we get any other amass cards. Return all creatures to their owner's hands, which is better as a wipe but it's costly at 5 mana. And Simoon deals 1 damage to each creature target opponent controls. Much more situational, but whatever, I guess we'll have it. This deck is going to be jank in the truest terms. Removal is up next, and I'm apprehensive on this one because how many removal spells can there possibly be with the babies in the art? Let's see. There's 1 instant spell. It's the Horrific Crib Swap, which exiles an opponent's creature at the cost of 3 white mana and giving that opponent a 1/1 changeling. And then that's it for non-creature removal spells. So up first for the creatures is Dragon Lord Tarka, another one of those Tarkir baby flip cards, who can deal 5 damage divided amongst any targets as it enters, which is okay but very costly for 7 mana. And everything else is, well, its Quinith and Cherished Hatchling are both very cute, but without many other dinosaurs in the deck I don't know how useful they're going to be. Sarkhan's Whelp is completely pointless unless we manage to find a Sarkhan Planeswalker to run, leaving Gorilla Shaman, which, you know what, isn't actually that bad. Spend XX and 1 to destroy a target creature with casting cost equal to X. Not great normally, but better than the rest of the deck and only 1 mana, so fine, it'll do. I guess we check out Planeswalkers to see if there's a baby Sarkhan, and sadly no, only a repeat of that Arling again, meaning maybe Sarkhan's Whelp is going to be one of the 4 that we cut, I guess we'll see. Although I think there is a Chibi Sarkhan, but Chibi aren't babies? Right? Actually, speaking of stretching the rules, I'm now curious about lands too, because I'm not sure how many baby-themed basics there are. Oh dear, okay, well, I guess planes are covered and we have at least 1 dual land, but okay, I know. Let's bin that planes off, and then take 7 each of these basics as they have art that I think a baby would enjoy. Very colourful round shapes even if they don't actually feature babies in the art, which in conjunction with those 2 previous non-basics would make 37 lands in total, though I feel this compromise might have been a controversial decision, so let me know in the comments. How would you solve this? Do you have a solution to getting around the lack of baby basics? Let me know. Okay, let's flesh out the rest of the deck now, and I feel like we're missing artifacts, so let's start there. Oh dear again. Okay, well, who needs artifacts in the deck anyway? Let's try enchantments next, and hope that we have more luck. Oh, that's better, and actually there's some pretty good picks there. Doubling Season immediately jumps out on me. I don't know if I've seen any other cards in the deck mention token generation so far, but Skrelv's Hive, Griffin Aryan, Offspring's Revenge all make tokens, so maybe that makes up for it. Goblin Warrens with its swaddled goblin baby also makes tokens, but you need to sacrifice 2 existing goblins to do it, and I don't think I've seen many goblins in the deck previously, so This might also be up for the chop if we can't goblin it up in here. And I have seen the art for heroism before, but I have legitimately never noticed the baby in the picture. That's why I enjoy making decks like this, using Scryfall tags in a dumb, weirdly specific way, because it gives me a chance to really appreciate some cards I'd otherwise normally overlook. Because look, and sometimes you notice something new like that baby. Let's look at instants next, and oh dear, we have seen all of those already. Okay, I get the feeling this is going to be a very creature-heavy deck. Let's look at sorceries then and give that a go. Okay, yeah, there's a few at least, but not many. Though I suppose it makes sense for a deck built around art that features babies would end up being a very creature-centric deck. Having said that, we do have some decent sorceries here. Claim the Firstborn is just generically good for 1 mana for instance, and Badlands Revival could be useful considering how many creatures it looks like we're going to end up running. Interestingly, Bogart Birthray also cares about goblins, so unless we have a few of those in the deck, this might also be up for the chop. So you know what? Let's look at goblins. I wonder how many there are in that 67 that we found. 4 cards. 1 of which makes goblin tokens, 1 that lets you cast goblins for free from your hand, 1 that recurs them from the graveyard, and the last is a goblin tutor. But you know what though? I actually think for this dumb deck that's enough to be considered a sub-theme. So okay goblin babies, welcome aboard. Goblin Warrens and Bogart Birthray make the cut. What did I say earlier? We're gonna goblin it up in here? And finally, it's the big one, the creature category. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm just going to show them all on screen. We've got a few more double-faced Tarkir dragon babies. We have Gisela Blade of Gold Knight as a cherub, a breastfeeding Mother of Runes, and the weirdly adorable Thriving Grubs. I'm not even going to attempt to justify why these cards should mechanically make the cut, because honestly, I don't think I could do that without having to really reach for some synergies. I'm going to leave that up to smarter, more patient people than I in the comments. However, what I will say is that looking at all of these cute babies and baby animals has made it obvious to me exactly which 4 cards it is that need to be cut. And so, of the 67, technically 66 thanks to our commander, paper, magic IP, commander legal, non-land, cards featuring babies, the 4 that we're going to cut are Sarkhan's Whelp, because there's just no Sarkhan in the deck to make it work, and all 3 spike cards. Because, and I understand that this will be subjective and not to everyone's liking, when I think baby, I don't think whatever the hell is going on here. When I think baby, I don't think of this slithering nightmare fuel. When I think baby, I don't normally want to gouge my eyes out afterwards. So, sorry Spikes, but you don't make the cut. I kind of hate looking at you. And that's the deck. No, get rid of that. Thank you, that's the deck. It's one that your comments inspired, so I hope you've had fun looking at these cards with me. Would you run this nonsense? Let me know in the comments below. And I guess if you're a Spike defender, explain to me why. Awful. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone that supports me, like 27 publications, Eggboy the Particle that permeates all existence, Blank Space, Wanpako Jozu, Miss Murder, a random Patreon, Ominous Jazz, and the rest of my patrons whose names are on screen now. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for this video, me on my Patreon page, where you can get your name credited on screen too. Check it out in the link in the description below. Hit the like button, leave a comment. I just want to say, it's not that I hate spikes, I actually think they're kind of cool and I would run them as like a deck in their own right. But not in a baby deck. If I played that and said, oh, this is my baby deck, and by the way, here's 3 monstrosities, I don't think I could justify that being a baby deck anymore. And most importantly, subscribe and share this video with a friend. Hit the notification bell and do all those things the algorithm loves. If you agree or disagree with any of my points, or you want to see me do a video on another subject, let me know and I will see you next time.